the back of your document will face you. You check the holes, you see that they are all open, none of them is closed, and you now carefully slide them into the holes. So as you do this, you check this side and make sure that everything has entered. If all of them are not in, you try again and make sure they all go in. So you do this until you see that they are all in. Right now I can see that all of them are in. Now that they are all in like this, I'll hold the handle again and now bring it backwards to the central position, and when I remove my book like this, voila, I have a bounded book. Yes, how are you all doing? All right, so I'm so excited to meet you once again, and today our lesson is on the comb binding. It's part of our curriculum, and we are supposed to learn how to operate the comb binding machine, and so that is what I'm going to be teaching on. So I'm going to switch on to my screen, and I'm going to show you what we are going to do. All right, so before we start, I want to ask one or two questions on binding in general, and I want you to tell me what binding is. Who can tell me what binding is in general? When we say binding, what is binding? What is binding? Yes. Okay, so Bright.
To put something together.
To put something together.
Yes.
That is binding.
Yes.
Something like what? Something like what, Bright?
Something like book.
Something like a book. Okay, so to put a book together, we call it binding. But who can tell me something about comb binding? What is comb binding? What is comb binding? When you say comb binding, why do we call this binding comb binding? Yes, Joel. It involves the use of a comb. All right, I see someone laughing because the person doesn't know what a comb is. Now, when you say comb, what do you mean by comb? Is it a comb you use in the house to comb your hair?
Yes, sir.
Is that what you are talking about? Okay, that is not what we are talking about. When we talk about comb binding, there is something we call a comb that is used, and I'm going to show you one. This is what we use. Please, have you all seen this?
Yes.
This is a comb. So any binding done with this is called comb binding. So that is what we are going to focus on. So let's turn onto the screen and see what we have here. All right. It says comb binding, how to make nice and durable booklets. So usually comb binding is used for what we call booklets. All right. Now definition. Comb binding is a method of binding pages together into a booklet. So in your examination, when you are asked to define comb binding, this is exactly what you are supposed to say. You are supposed to say that comb binding is a method of binding pages together into what? A booklet. A booklet is something like a small book. All right. In comb binding, the inside edges of the pages have a series of rectangular holes punched into them. A comb, which is a plastic spine with rings, is then inserted into the holes. Comb binding is the most popular bookbinding method seen in schools, libraries, and offices. This is so important. This is the most popular bookbinding method seen in schools, When you go to universities, this method of binding is what is used for all handouts and pamphlets and whatever is given out, and any official documents. Even in government agencies, they use this form of binding. When you watch CIA movies, you see that top secret documents are bound this way. So it is used in the legal circles, it is used in schools, it's used in business and everywhere. Now, it is quick and simple and produces durable and professional looking documents of up to 500 pages. Of up to 500 words. All right, so comb binding has a limit. Comb binding cannot be used to bind a large volume of book. It's used to bind simple books. That's why we call them booklets. And the maximum it can bind is 500 pages. When you look at this particular cover, they've given some information here. They said the max binding capacity is what? 450 sheets. Can you all see it? 450 sheets. All right, so I'm sure some of you have seen it. 450 sheets. So this brand here is telling us that with this machine, you can only bind up to 450 sheets. So you have to keep that in mind. So in our lecture, we have 500 sheets, but this can only bind 450 sheets. Now, 500 pages could also mean a duplex page, which is front and back, but that's not what we are talking about. We are talking about the number of sheets. The number of sheets. So this can bind up to how many? 450 sheets. So keep that in mind. And so anytime you are asked, you should know that the limit is between 400 to 500. All right. It says that comb binding is ideal for binding reports, presentations, pamphlets, notes, legal documents, papers, or any official document. Comb binding. So when you see this, you know the type of binding we are talking about. Please, have you all seen any binding like this before?
Yes.
Yes, this is very common. All right. What are the advantages of comb binding? Why do we talk about comb binding so much? It says that comb binding is extremely economical. As compared to other forms of binding, this method of binding is the most affordable. It is very affordable. It is very what? Very affordable. That means it doesn't cost much to bind this way. Other forms of binding will cost you a whole lot. This one is very, very economical. So we'll be doing the practical for you to see, and you understand how simple it is and what we are talking about. Okay, number 2 says comb binding machines are very easy to operate. We are talking about the advantages of comb binding, and it says that comb binding machines are very easy to what? They are very easy to operate. The machine does not have any delicate parts, and the operation is very easy. So anyone can use it to effectively bind reports, papers, or any other document. After today, you will all know how to use this machine. After today, all of you here, including our online viewers, will all be able to bind with a comb binding machine, and you'll be able to operate it. You see how simple it is. So this is one of the advantages. You just need a one-day lesson on the machine and you can use it. All right, so after we show you how it works, you are all going to practice with it and see how it is. Number 3 says that comb binding offers more flexibility. You can bind any number of pages from 2 to 500. Comb binding offers more flexibility. You can bind any number of pages. Number 4, comb binding allows the spine to be reopened to remove or add additional pages at any time. This feature makes editing the document very easy. With other forms of binding, after the document is bounded, you cannot remove anything, you cannot add, unless you destroy the binding and you do it all over again. But with comb binding, even after the document is fully bounded, you can remove the spine, add more sheets to the document. Even if you want to remove some of the pages, you can easily do that. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so number 5 says that the combs themselves are very resilient and are available in a variety of different colors and sizes as well. So let's talk about the machine, and after this we'll go and look at the machine itself. It says that the comb binding machine, alternatively referred to as comb binders. So comb binding machines are alternately referred to as comb binders. They come in 2 major designs. We have the electric and we have the manual. We have electric and we have what? Manual. So when they ask you of the 2 types of comb binding machines, you should know that we have the electric comb binding machine and we also have the manual comb binding machine. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's look at the manual comb binding machine. Manual comb binding machines are referred to as manual because the punching that is done at the edges of the sheets of paper is done by pulling a handle manually. They are ideal for low to medium volume bookbinding. So the punching of the sheets is done manually. With comb binding, you are going to punch holes into the sheets. Have you seen anything like that before? We will see that in a few minutes. All right, so this is how the machine looks like, and we have one of them here. And let's quickly look at the electric comb binders. Electric comb binding machines are very convenient to use. They are branded electric because the punching is typically done by an electric powered motor. So the electric comb binding machine, it uses electricity and the punching is done by a motor. While most electric punches punch more paper than a manual punch machine, this isn't always the case. Electric comb binding machines are most ideal for medium to high volume comb binding. So when we ask you to give some differences between the manual comb binders and the electric comb binders, we've seen 2 differences. Number 1, the manual comb binders punch their holes manually. The electric ones punch their holes by an electric powered motor. Number 2, the manual comb binders are ideal. Let's go back and see here. They are ideal for they are ideal for low to medium volume what? Comb binding. The electric says that the electric is ideal for medium to high volume comb binding. So the first one is low to medium, and the electric is medium to what? Medium to high. This is because the electric punch requires little manual effort and does not tire a person out like a manual punch machine can over time. So this is an example of the electric comb binder. Have you all seen it? It's very beautiful, and this is an electric comb binding machine, and I've taken time to put all these things together for you. All right, so what kind of document is being made here in this book? Financial reports. So financial reports uses this comb binding method and other documents as well. All right. Okay, so let's continue. Now we'll talk about the materials we use for comb binding. What are the materials? It says that comb binding is easy, affordable, and can help you produce great looking documents. However, before you can use this binding method, you need to have some things to get started besides the binding machine. So apart from the binding machine, there are other things you need to get started. It says that comb binding is easy, affordable, and can help you produce great looking documents. Most comb binding documents look great after you bind them. However, before you can use this method of binding, you need to have some things to get started besides the binding machine. That means apart from the binding machine, you need other things. So that's what we are going to look at. Apart from the binding machines, what do you need? Number one, you need what we call binding combs. Binding combs. I showed you one before we started. It says that the combs come in different colors and thicknesses. The appropriate thickness is used based on the number of pages in the book. The thickest combs can bind up to how many? 500 pages, the thickest. So all that it is saying is that the combs come in different sizes. Is that not what we are talking about? Yes. They come in different sizes. So why will I need a big one like this? Who can explain to me why we will need a big comb like this? Pardon? For the number of pages. Okay. So that means if you are binding a document with several pages, you need a bigger comb. But when you are binding a document with about 15 pages, then this is a comb. We even have a smaller one than this, which can bind up to just 5 to 7 or 10 sheets. So this one can take up to, let's say, 20 sheets. Yes, but we have different sizes and different colors. The colors are there for you to choose the appropriate one for your book because of the other material we'll be talking about. They also come in different colors, and also your own preference. So if you prefer a certain color, you can go ahead and use it. All right, so let's talk about number two. Number two, it says that we have the front plastic cover. Using the right front cover is an important part of producing a professional looking document. There are many different types and colors you can choose from. If you want to give your work a unique look, clear covers are particularly helpful because readers will be able to see the title of your document and they look great. So over here we are talking about the front plastic cover. The front plastic cover. I don't know if you have ever seen one before. The front plastic cover. Now I have one here. Can you see through it? Yes. This is called the front plastic cover. We are talking about the materials you will need to do comb binding. First of all, what do you need? You need a comb. So this is called a comb or a binding comb. Number one. Number two, what do you need? The front plastic cover. Some people call it a film. So you need this. So this is number two. We want to look at the third one. Number three. Number three says, what is number three? Okay, so we have the back card cover. You need a card for the back. For one document, you need a front and back cover. Using the right covers is an important part of producing a professional looking document. Back covers come in a variety of thicknesses and colors such as black, red, blue, and so on. So this is a picture of the back card cover. Please, have you seen this? Yes. So this is an example of the cover, and we have all of them here to show. Then number 4, you need the main what? The main document. Most of the available comb binding machines can handle office papers, paper documents of A4, letter and legal sizes. So letter and legal sizes are like A4 sizes, just that they are a little different from A4 size. Last time we learned that A4 is not a material, A4 is what? It's a size. Okay, so you need a main document. So we are going to talk about the 4 materials you need to do your comb binding. Now we have tools and materials. Who can tell me the difference between a tool and a material? Who can tell me the difference between a tool and a material? Okay, Joel.
Tools are used to work on materials.
Excellent. Did you hear what he said? Tools are used to work on what? Materials. Any other explanation? What's the difference between tools and materials? What's the difference between tools and materials? Who can help us? Tools and materials. All right, so some of you want to talk. I don't know why. You want to say something? All right, so Victus, don't you have anything to say? Huh? Okay, so we have tools and materials. Joel said tools are used to work on materials. So usually, whenever you are making something, tools are used for the work, but they are not part of the finished work. They are used to do the work, but are not part of the finished work. So tools are devices and machines that help you to do the work easily. What are materials? Materials are part of the work. So usually materials, when you say something is a material, it means it is an ingredient or something that will be part of the finished work. So with what we are talking about, who can tell us what our tool is? What is our tool? What is our tool here? What is our tool? The comb binding machine. Will the machine be part of the finished work? No. It won't be part. But all the materials we are showing here, will they be part of the finished work? Yes. They'll be parts, so they are called materials. All right. So we are going to look at the practicals, and we are just going to do our binding. And so I want you to tell me that the materials I'm supposed to bring to the machine to do my binding. So who can tell me the materials to bring? Okay, so someone is saying the comb, and then the front plastic cover, the back hard cover. This is it. This is exactly what we have in the computer. So are these what I need? What is left? The main document. See, I forgot. All right. So how can you do binding without your main document? What are you going to bind? Okay. So I don't even have a document. So I'm going to take some sheets of paper from here, and let me use these sheets as our main document. So we are going to assume that we have done our printing on this sheet. There's no printing, but we are going to use this sheet. All right, so because of the comb I'm using, I will reduce the sheets because they are quite many, and so to bind this volume I need to use a different comb size, right? Okay. Okay, so now I have everything I need. So how do you do your binding? So now we are going to start with the main practical lesson. How do you do your binding? The first thing to do when you want to bind is to punch the holes in the machine. The first thing to do is what? So like I said, the first thing to do is to punch the holes. So this machine will do the punching, and usually if the papers are more than 10, you need to split them into smaller pieces. So I'm going to bind all of these sheets, but because they are quite many, I'm going to reduce them so that the machine can easily punch them. Alright, so I'm going to separate them. So if we have page 1 here and page 22 here, I'm going to remove the first part. I'm not supposed to mix them. I know exactly what I'm doing. I'll carefully remove the top part and put the back part down. Take the top part and insert it into the machine this way. So the camera should come here and capture it for me well. So it's going to be inserted in this way. You push it into the machine and you hit the back here to make sure it has gone in all the way. It shouldn't go in halfway. If it goes in halfway and you do the punching, your punching will not be in line. So it has to go in all the way so that when other sheets, the other part comes, it will also have the same measurement to punch on a straight line. So once you push it in all the way, you make sure everything looks well arranged. You put your hand on it to press it down so that it doesn't move during the punching. You hold this handle and you punch it down like this. You make sure it gets to the end. It has gotten to the end. Please, have you seen this? So you release it again and you pull your document back and you see that the sheets are punched. Please, can you all see this? Alright, now I know that my document is arranged from page 1 to, let's say, page 12, and so I will carefully place this somewhere in a way that I remember the orders of the sheets so that they don't mix up. I take the next part. This is, let's say, from page 13 to 22. Always you do something like this to make sure you are... Who knows why I'm doing this? To arrange the sheets well so that some of them do not come out anyway. So if you know how to handle papers, when you do this, you know what you are doing. And as you are turning the paper, you should know the edge to punch. You are not supposed to punch the front part where the pages are flipped like this. So as you are turning and turning, you are aware of the side to punch. Do you get what I'm saying? So as I'm putting it in, I know which side I'm putting in. So I push it into the machine well, and I'll do the same thing again. Push it this way a little so that the barrier here will lock everything, and I'll know that it has gotten to the end. It's firm. I place my hand on it and I punch again. By making sure all these things are done, you will get a clean punch, and when you finish and you add this to the main document, you see that they are all in line perfectly. So I'm going to remove this, and you see that it looks exactly the same as the first part. Please, can you see this? Alright, so if this is page 13 to 22, I will carefully take page 1 to page 12 and put on it the right way so that the papers do not mix up. If you have more sheets to punch, you add this, you put them down, pick the next set, punch and add. So you do this carefully. Now they are not well arranged, so I'm going to do this again, and after I do this, you see that all the holes will come back in line. So I'm doing this to arrange them, and can you see this? All the holes are back in line, so the pages are also well arranged. So I'll put the main document down after this arrangement. So after punching your sheets like I've just done, you have to take the front and back covers and punch them as well. Please, are you following? So after punching your sheet, the next step is to punch the front and back covers. So you put them together, make sure they are in line. If you are good at handling papers, what I'm doing, you'll be very skilled at it. When you do it, your papers will be straight. All right. When I finish this, I'll show you a video of how someone is able to make papers behave in a certain way. So I make sure they are straight, and I'll put them in the machine, push it backwards, tap it to make sure it has gone in all the way, move it to this side to make sure the edges are hitting this barrier, and this tells me that it has gone in the right way. And when I punch, the holes will fall in the same line as the document. So I punch again. When I finish, when I remove, you see that they are all punched the right way. When you look at the left side is not cut into the paper. It hasn't cut through the paper. It has punched just before the last edge. The same to the right side, and everything looks great. So number one, you punch your document. Number two, you punch the front and back covers like this, like I have done. You put them somewhere also. Then number three, you now pick your comb. So picking the comb is a third step. This is not the second step, this is a third step. So now you will place the comb in, but make sure that the opening part opens towards you, because the machine will open them towards you. If you turn it the right way and you force the machine, it's going to break it through. So you turn it this way, you drop them in the machine this way. Can you all see this? Yes. So you can see that the back is facing the outside like this. Can you all see that? All right. So now I will push this one backwards. You see that the handle is not coming in towards me, it's going away from me. Can you see that? Yes, sir. Okay. So you saw how I pushed the handle backwards. The first time when I was punching, how did I push it? I pushed it towards me and I pressed it down to punch. To open the comb, you push it backwards. Now, the first thing you pick this time is the back cover. So you pick the back cover, you check the size, look at the side you want to appear at the back, and then you make sure you slide it into the comb like this. Come this way. You make sure the holes enter into the combs like this way, so they are in. The next thing is to, I think I will pick, okay, you know what, let's do it this way. Let me remove this, and because my document is not much, I'll put all of them together like this, because this will be the best way. If you are handling few pages, this will be the best way. So you can see how I'm arranging the sheets, and by doing this, the pages are aligning well, and I am very conscious of the parts that is facing me and the part that should go in. This time, please, are you here? This is not the the side that will enter into the combs. The back side will enter, so that side will face you. The back of your document will face you. You check the holes, you see that they are all open, none of them is closed, and you now carefully slide them into the holes. So as you do this, you check this side and make sure that everything has entered. If all of them are not in, you try again and make sure they all go in. So you do this until you see that they are all in. Right now I can see that all of them are in. Now that they are all in like this, I'll hold the handle again and now bring it backwards to the central position. And when I remove my book like this, voila, I have a bounded book. So this is how to do your comb binding. It's very simple. Very, very simple. So if you had a page cover or a cover page, your cover page will be here, and this film is going to be in front, and you are going to see through, and that makes it look very nice and professional. So I'm done 100%. My work is done. This is how to do binding. So everyone is going to try this because in your examination you have to do some binding. So everyone is going to try this. So this is the demonstration of using the binding machine. Is there any question? Any question? Ask questions. Yes. Joel. Yes. Okay, so Joel is asking whether some of the machines are bigger than this one. Yes, the answer is absolutely. We have bigger machines. So some of them look bigger than this. Most of them are like this, but we definitely have some that looks bigger than this. If you remember the one I showed you on the screen, you see that that one is even bigger than this. So some of them are most definitely bigger than this. Any question? Yes, Joe. The electric, if it is electric, then I think you should expect a button, not a handle. A handle is manual. So if it's electric, you should expect a button. So you press a button and it will do the punching for you. Any other question? Yes.
On the home binding, the big one, can you
Yes.
enter that too?
Yes.
Can you enter the big one?
Okay, I didn't get your question well. You said the big comb binding machine.
No, the big comb.
The big comb, okay.
Can it enter this place if you come to the main?
In this machine, yes, it can. It can. Yes. So if I'm binding more pages, I'll definitely use the big comb. Yes, this comb, I brought this because the document is not more than 20 sheets, and you see that it looks good, right? If I had used a bigger one, you will see that the comb will be too big and the document will be small. And if you use a smaller comb than the document, you see that it will be difficult for them to fit in, and after you bind, you see that they are tight together and it's even hard to open. I had a document to bind. I think I purchased a book online and I actually decided to print the book. So the book had about 600 sheets. So I printed the entire book and I wanted to do the binding. So I saw that the book was so much bigger than the combs and everything. So what I did was that I divided the book into two, and I used a big comb to bind the first half and use another comb to bind the second half. So I have 2 documents after my binding. So sometimes when you have to bind something and it is very there are too many, you can separate them into 2, and that means you carry the 2 books with you every time. Yes, so it may not be the best, but that is the only way you can solve such a situation. So if you have an ebook, an online book that you want to print, you have your own printer, you print and you can bind. If there are too many, you can separate them into 2 and have 2. Is that okay? Any other question? All right, so can you all remember what we demonstrated here? Okay, so I'm going to go over whatever I said, and as I do that, I want the camera to capture every inscription on this machine so that the online viewers can also see everything very well. All right, so when you bring your documents and all the materials, what is the first thing you do on this machine? What's the first thing to do on this machine?
The main document.
Okay, so Charles and Fafali are saying that you have to punch the main document. Now, you don't have to punch all of them at once. If you put too many sheets into the machine and you try punching, it will not punch through. So it will punch halfway and you'll be forcing and forcing, and by the time you finish, they are not in line and you've made a mistake. So you pick just a number of sheets that can easily enter into your machine and you punch this way. Is that okay? Yes. So when you punch, you remove, you check the holes, you put them down, you pick the next set, you fix in, you punch this way. This is how to do the punching. You push it down, all the way down. You remove and you do that till you finish punching all the documents. Number 2, what's the next step? Number 2, the second step. Okay, so you pick the front and back covers, you make sure they are also in line, and you insert them in the machine and punch this way down. You remove them, you place them aside. Number 3, what do? You pick your comb, insert it over here, and you make sure the opening part opens towards you. And when you hold the machine, how do you push the machine? You push it. Okay, so you push it this way, so it's not towards you, away from you. And as you do that, I want the camera to capture what is happening here. So as you do that, you see that the handles here are also pushing backwards, and that will open the comb. No matter the size, it will open all of them. So you don't have to open all the way to the end, but you open to a level that you can see that the papers can easily go through. Then number 4, what is the 4th step? What do you do? Okay, so you can insert the back cover and you pick the document and insert them little by little. If the document is voluminous, you insert them little by little, but you have to insert from the back of the document. You don't insert the first pages. You pick the entire document, you pick some sheets from the back and insert them first. Then you pick another set from the back, insert. You keep on doing that till you have the whole thing. Then when you finish, you pick the plastic and you put that in front. So the first pages will be the last to go in. Do you understand? If you don't do that, you bind the wrong way. So after inserting all of them, now you make sure that they have all entered into the combs very well. If a few of them are not going in, and you are trying and trying but they are not going in, you can reset this back to its normal position. You do this when you are done. Remove the sheets and you can use your hand let's say two of them didn't enter in well. Please, can you see this? You can use your hand to fix them in. So you gently push them through, and you see that I've done it myself. So if about one or two didn't enter well, this is what you do. And you do this to make sure they are all in well. When you finish, this is the final work. This is how it's supposed to be in. When you finish, you have to check all of them again to see and be sure that they have all entered in. Sometimes they will all go through the paper, but some of them will not go through the plastic. So if you see something like that, you can remove it and fix it well. So you inspect this and make sure it is done. And you finish, you have your document ready. I'll take you onto the screen and show you how someone was able to intelligently play with some papers for them to look some nice way. So let me open this and show you.
Now I have here a ream of A4 paper. A ream is 500 sheets. So that's like a pack of paper straight out of the wrapping. Just before we do our little experiments, here's a bit of fun you can have. Using this part of your finger, and don't rub too hard because you'll burn yourself, just press it down.
Please, can you see what he's doing? He picked a ream of sheets, and he says a ream has how many sheets? So when you buy an A4 ream, there are 500 sheets in it. So look at what he's doing.
And turn it round and round and round. And keep doing this for quite a while. You can see what's happening. It's beginning to make a spiral. It's worth buying a pack of paper just for this, isn't it? Look at that. Isn't that amazing? Well, I've got to stop there, but you can keep doing it until the whole pack is in a continuous spiral going round and round. And then, if you do it backwards, you should end up with a full pack again. Well, you can do that at home, can't you? Have some fun. What you've got to do now is pop to somebody's office and pinch a pack of paper.
Alright, so I did this for you to see how people who are good with papers can handle papers. If you are good with papers, you can handle papers for them to conform to whatever shape and form you want them to be in. Yes, I remember at a printing press, some people could hold large volumes of papers and they would just raise them some way, hit them some way, and in just few minutes, all the stack of papers are in line perfectly. If you try it, you'll see how difficult it is, but they are so good. So when papers are not in order, there's a way. Sometimes they open it like this. Sometimes they do some things like this. They do this, do that, and by the time they finish, they are all in line perfectly. So when you are binding, as you hit the paper like this and you push the size and turn and do the same, you are learning how to handle papers and you are arranging the papers very well. And after a while, if you work in the print industry or you deal with papers, handle papers a lot, you'll see that you'll be good with handling papers. So I just wanted you to see all of this, and I'm sure you have all enjoyed the lesson, and I'm going to put it online for all of you to go over and study it very well. And I think you have picked something from this. So if you want to get more videos or lessons like this from me, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel and hit the like button as well and turn on your notifications. Also turn on the small bell icon so that you will always be notified when new videos are released. So this is me, your lecturer, and I teach on IT, I teach on mathematics, I teach on different concepts. And if you want more lessons from me, make sure you join this family and we move on. So we'll end here and I'll see you in the next video. All right, thank you.